Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Brian. It's coming up on 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Just going to run through what we're looking at here in the futures market. Live market session starts here in just about 30 minutes. So just going to run through what we've got here on the BTX indicator and see what market conditions exist and kind of talk through potential trading ideas here for the day. It is a Friday, and it's the Friday before the election next week. So, anybody's guess as to what's going to happen in that. So it could certainly be a major catalyst in the market. Well, I shouldn't say could be, it will be a major catalyst in the market next week. But the big thing is to see how we're doing today and what opportunities you might have to be able to take advantage today in today's market. All right, so let's just real quickly run through this. I'm gonna try to keep it under 5 minutes. I always say that, I never do, but man, I did this morning on Forex, so I'm hoping to stick with the plan today. All right, so what are we looking at? E-minis. So we got the S&P, crude, and gold. All are in downward biases. So 4 hour on every one of these is short, 30-minute on every one of these is short as well. What that tells us on just the high level glance is we should be looking for short trading opportunities. Man, we've been getting chopped up here, quite a bit over the last, last week or so, last couple of weeks, with the, with the market being kind of crazy. We get those entry points, and it'll push immediately into profit, and then come back and take us out either at break even or for slight losses, which is okay. It's okay at some level, but at the same time, no one wants to take a loss, especially not multiple in a row. But that's part of trading. That's just simply part of trading. You're going to have periods where, we hit series of losses, and that's just unfortunately part of it. And that's usually the point where people get frustrated and they abandon their trading method and start looking for something else, and whatever else it is they look for works for a minute, and then the conditions change, and then it doesn't, and then they abandon it and they go to something else and something else and something else and something else. The only way to ever have consistency is to be consistent in your approach in the market. So that's paramount. The big thing right now, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, was the closer we get to the election, the markets are going to get choppy, and it's probably for a lot of people a good time just to stop, just not be in the market at all. Just because something pops up on your screen and says to take a trade doesn't mean you should take a trade. We can't just follow that blindly. We get into conditions like this, like we're in right now, and sometimes the best opportunity is to just say, hey, I'm going to wait until after the smoke clears and the dust settles, and then we'll see what's going on at that point. So with that said, though, let's just have a look at what the indicator's doing. I mentioned we're in short across the board. We're short. So what we'd be looking for is short trading opportunities. What that looks like is the market, pulling back, making higher lows and higher highs on each of these, higher lows and higher highs, and then breaking back in the direction of the trend. So higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we'd want to see the market break back down and go through the bottom of that previously closed higher low, and that would enter us into a trade. Now, with that said, I mentioned this yesterday on the S&P, so there are some levels that we want to have a look at here. 3,300, big major level here. So it's a whole number. It's also just a big level of resistance at this point. It had been support. It's a big level of resistance at this point. So we break above, coming into the session, we've got a pretty good strong buying opportunity here. But if we break up and we break above 3,300 on the S&P, I would just say at that point, walk away, because at that point, we may be looking for that to run up again another, 10, 20, 30 points. So if we break above 3,300, don't keep looking for shorts. Let it do what it's going to do. We'll come back and see what the opportunity exists on another day. All right, but beyond that, as long as we keep rejecting 3,300 up here, we could certainly look for short opportunities as it breaks back in the direction of that current trend. Dang it, I'm right at 5 minutes. I'm not gonna make my 5-minute goal. Crude has tumbled quite a bit. It's down to 36, hanging right around here. If crude breaks above 36.50, and especially as we approach 37, we may, I'd say probably a little higher actually. You know, crude can push up a little bit up to this 37 area. If we break 37 though, we'd stop looking for shorts on crude, because that might be the point where it's going to run a little bit longer to the north side again. But for right now, we are still looking at short opportunities on crude. The decision point here is right around 36, so breaks down below 36 and lower would be that opportunity there. And then on gold, gold is also starting to push higher this morning. Certainly has a long way to go, but it is pushing higher this morning. I'd say retests of 1900 would be good spots to sell off of, but if it breaks 19, I'll again stop looking for shorts at that point, because it's probably going to keep moving higher. But up to that point, we'd still continue looking for the market to do what it's doing right now, which is making higher lows and higher highs, and then we'd look for it to come back down and break down below a previously closed higher low and go short back in the direction of that current bias. But again, if we get to this 1900 and it breaks above that, I'd stop looking at shorts at that point and just move away and let the market do what it's going to do, come back on Monday and see what's going on. All right, so there it is. I'm going to leave it here. Kept it fairly short. Didn't get off on tangent too much. So you guys have a great weekend. Have a good Halloween, and